Alright, Sean O'Malley just became the UFC bantamweight champion back in August by TKOing Aljamain Sterling in the second round. Now, while that upset was very shocking, we've been wondering when is O'Malley going to return right after he said he wanted to fight Marlon Vera in December in the T-Mobile Arena. Marlon Vera won his fight that night, so it did kind of make sense. That fight is not happening anymore. And I also want to talk about Aljamain Sterling coming out after his grappling match saying that Sean O'Malley's ducking him, that either you should give him or Merab a title shot.
I got a message for Mr. Sugar Tits, because he's still that to me. Hey, give me my rematch or fight Merab. It's that simple. Stop ducking the top contenders and be a man and be a real champ and fight the best of the best. That's what I did. Now you need to turn around and do the same exact shit. Let's go.
Is that true? Do either of them even deserve it? And is Sean O'Malley ducking competition, and is the UFC letting him duck competition to get pay-per-views? I want to talk about all that and more, but first I want to remind you guys to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. We're trying to 20K by the end of the year. You guys are the best fan base, so I know you're going to help me with that goal. And yeah, I want to talk about it. So first of all, as we know, Sean O'Malley is a massive superstar in the UFC. Just beat one of the best bantamweights ever, Aljamain Sterling, knocked him out in the second round. And if you're going to give Aljamain anything, I mean, look at the run that this guy was on. Yes, you could point to TJ Dillashaw having one arm, and, you know, the Cejudo fight was close, and so was the Yan fight, right? And especially how he won the title. There is a lot of things you can poke fun at, but look, at the end of the day, he beat these guys, and these are elite level dudes. Except for O'Malley, he fought all former champions, even Cejudo, which was a double champion, beating an Olympic wrestler, and taking him down, by the way. Aljamain Sterling had quite an impressive run at bantamweight, and let's not forget that. Just because he lost to O'Malley and got caught, let's not forget about all the amazing things that he did in his career. In that title run, he fought the best of the best, and that's what I'm trying to say. Sean O'Malley was targeting a return in December, but it does seem like that he has some sort of back injury. He mentioned this on the Joe Rogan podcast. I was watching it then, and yeah, he said that he has some sort of back issue he's trying to figure out, and once that's all done, then he can start training and getting back into a fight. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with his back, so maybe we could expect to see him in March, maybe April, who knows. But my point is, we might not see him for a while, and I think that there's a lot of fun options for him to fight, right? I mean, you got Corey Sandhagen, right? He's obviously one of the #1 contenders you could pick from. An immediate rematch with Aljamain, I don't think is any rational idea, right? I think he does deserve it. Look at the guys he beat, look at the run he is on. I don't think they're going to do it, because look, if we're going to be honest, O'Malley beating Aljamain was unlikely, right? Most people picked Aljamain, and I really thought that Aljamain was going to win. I thought he was going to pressure Sean O'Malley up against the fence, so I thought he was going to easily win. And why would the UFC risk, you know, fucking up their superstar and replacing him with Aljamain, who they really don't like, if we're going to be honest? But we have Merab coming off of a very dominant win against Petr Yan, right? Like, when you compare O'Malley's win against Petr Yan and Merab's, like, it's day and night, right? Merab dominated him. Yan arguably won the fight, even though I do think O'Malley won. There is definitely an argument for Petr Yan. So when you compare those two, honestly, Merab should be up there in terms of the #1 contender. But I'm also forgetting the guy that Sean O'Malley wants, Chito Vera. Now, Chito Vera is the only loss Sean O'Malley has, and I kind of get that. Look, I understand. Look, Sean O'Malley's the champion. I understand that Marlon Vera didn't fight exactly the best guy, right? He fought Pedro Munoz. And I think if Marlon Vera had fought Cejudo and he beat him, I honestly would be more in favor for that. But he doesn't deserve the title shot. Look, I think you should give Vera another match, and maybe give him a Merab, maybe give him an Aljamain Sterling, or maybe rebook that Cejudo fight. I wouldn't mind seeing Cejudo versus Chito Vera, if I'm going to be honest. And I think, honestly, it comes down to 3 options, right? Aljo, Merab, or Corey. Now, Aljamain did just lose to Sean O'Malley, and yes, although Aljamain won the first round, to me, when watching that fight doesn't scream to me, hey, we need a rematch. Would I mind a rematch? No. Like, Adesanya getting a Sean Strickland rematch, I would mind that. I don't really want to see that fight right now. I'd rather Adesanya get back out there, get an impressive win so we could be hyped about that fight. However, Aljamain, I do think that if we go into a rematch, there is a conversation and a reasonable assumption that Aljamain could win, right? I think that is how you make a rematch. I think the only time you should really make a rematch is if there's a reasonable assumption that the other person might win. So yes, although I think that it is okay to make a rematch with Aljamain and Sean O'Malley, I'm just not in favor for it. I think we should maybe give Aljamain another fight. Maybe he moves up a weight division, and then who knows what the future brings. Maybe they meet each other once again. You never know what the sport is going to bring. Some matchups you just don't expect. So honestly, I think Aljo should move on, maybe move up in weight, go to featherweight, and move on. Now let's talk about Merab. Now look, Merab is a guy that I did think deserved a title shot, and yes, he had a very impressive win against Petr Yan. And I just also want to say this, I honestly don't have a problem giving him a title shot, even though he did the whole thing with Aljamain where he didn't want to fight Aljamain. I know a lot of people have problems with that. How I feel about that, I don't mind. Look, at the end of the day, Merab is making that choice. Do I agree with the choice? No, not necessarily. Look, if Merab wants to move up in competition, yes, he should fight Aljo. However, I don't really see why it's our concern. Like, why are so many people bothered by this? I don't know. At the end of the day, Merab's the one really fucking himself, because he's missing out on the pay-per-view points. He's missing out on the higher pay. He's missing out on the notability. Like, he's really just screwing himself. So So if you're mad at anybody, don't be mad at Merab, because Merab is literally punishing himself. So he's had enough punishment, and I understand, look, you're trying to be a good friend. I don't know if any of you guys in the comment section below have like best friends or something like that, but if you do, would you fight them? I mean, maybe some of you will. Maybe some of you will look like, hey, it's competition, but honestly, for me, I would want the best for my friends. I wouldn't really want to go out there and hurt them and humiliate them and make them lose on their future. I'd rather support them. So I get it. And look, Merab and Aljo, they had a plan figured out. Aljo said he's going to vacate the belt and give it to Merab, and that makes sense, right? It's not like Merab's going to be floating there forever, especially when, let's be honest, Sean O'Malley was always going to get that title shot, and so was Henry Cejudo. It's never like, Merab was offered a title shot and he never took it. He was never offered. Like, this is what I don't get. This is the most confusing thing to me, is that everybody's acting like Merab was offered a title shot and denied it. TJ was always supposed to fight Aljo. Cejudo was always supposed to fight Aljo before even Merab won, and O'Malley was going to fight Aljo. We knew this when he beat Jan. He said it. He said, hey, I'm getting the winner. This was all set in stone before Merab even won. So that's what I really don't get when people are criticizing Merab. So I just want to defend Merab, because there's a lot of Merab hate, and I know this will probably get me hate. I know a lot of you guys are going to disagree, but I do genuinely want to hear your opinions, because if I'm wrong, I will admit I'm wrong, but I do want to hear what you guys think about it. But my problem with Merab is, look, it has been now 6 months, almost 9 months, and let's be honest, a win against Piotr Jan nowadays, it's kind of outdated, right? We saw O'Malley beat him, we've seen Aljo beat him, and I think his best chance to get the title shot would have been immediately, like, after getting some sort of deal done and doing a title shot then. However, it's just taken too long. So the guy I want to give a title shot to is a guy that is going to bring a fun fight, a guy that's going to bring a competitive fight, and actually a guy that I think would win, Corey Sandhagen. Now, Corey Sandhagen is one of my favorite fighters, so maybe I'm just a bit biased, but if you look at the guy that Corey Sandhagen has fought, I mean, Corey Sandhagen accepted Umar Nurmagomedov. That's how legit he is. He was down to fight even below the rankings, way behind him, just to fight a high-level dude, a talented dude that was a prospect in the division, and show everybody who he really was. So the dude's not afraid to fight anybody. Of course, Umar had to pull out and he had to fight Rob Font, which was another top contender. Keep in mind, he had just beaten Adrian Yanez, and I thought Rob Font was going to bring some problems from Corey Sandhagen. Obviously, that didn't happen. Corey Sandhagen mostly grappled, and yes, it wasn't the most exciting fight, but you have to consider Corey Sandhagen tore his tricep. He literally apologized to the fans in the arena. Like, I would not do that, dude. I just got into a fight. F the fans that are booing me. I wouldn't even think to say, oh, sorry. So you gotta respect Corey Sandhagen, and Corey Sandhagen also is a fun, stylistic matchup against O'Malley. Now, I'd assume he'd probably try to grapple a little bit more than strike. Not that he can't strike with O'Malley, but it's just that's the easiest path, right? And Corey Sandhagen's a very smart fighter. He's very well-rounded. He's improved in his jiu-jitsu, his wrestling, his striking. He is honestly one of the best fighters on the planet right now, and I think he beats him. I think he's gonna beat him, probably by decision. Maybe he could even finish on O'Malley, because we have not seen O'Malley in those later rounds. So I'm gonna pick Corey Sandhagen. He has more experience. He's coming off on a crazy win streak right now, coming off of a win against Marlon Vera, who was supposed to get the title shot next. Before that, beat Song Yadong. Before that, he lost to Piotr Jan on short notice, keep in mind. The guy has been on a run lately, and even before that, he did lose to TJ, but that fight was close, and I thought Corey Sandhagen won, to be honest. And then before that, he had the knockout against Frankie Edgar. Like, the guy has been in a role for the past 2 years. Ever since he got submitted by Aljamain, the guy has been a different fighter, and maybe that is a stand for him as to why he shouldn't get the title shot because of that devastating loss he had to Aljamain, but I still think he deserves it. I think you gotta give it to Corey Sandhagen. That's who I think deserves it. But is Sean O'Malley getting handpicked competition? Like, look, if I'm gonna be honest, this is what it looks like, right? Marlon Vera, I understand, does have the loss against Sean O'Malley, and they did a similar thing with Michael Bisping back in the day, right? When Michael Bisping said that he wanted to fight Dan Henderson in England to avenge that loss at UFC 100, he fought him, and it made no sense. Like, Dan Henderson was number 13, and it really made no sense, but the UFC did it, and I feel like this is what we're doing here. I mean, yes, is it a fun storyline? Of course, right? Marlon Vera didn't really beat O'Malley, in my opinion. Like, it was kind of more of an injury thing. Like, people give it way more credit than it actually deserves. That's just my thoughts, but I don't think you can do this. Look, when you're talking about other matchups, like Ferguson and Patty, right? I know some people are upset about that matchup. However, there aren't so much stakes, right? Both guys aren't really going to win a title, aren't going to change their lives with a win. Is a win important? Yes, especially for both these guys. There's a lot of stakes, but what I'm trying to say is the title is very different. You have to treat that with importance, but now that O'Malley has the title shot, you have to give it to the guy that actually deserves it for the sport. Otherwise, like Aljamain said, we are going to be in a WWE sport where everything is scripted. You have to give it to the best guys. Look, if O'Malley lost and this matchup made no sense, I wouldn't care. Let's do it. Let's have some fun. The Umar and Corey Sandhagen matchup really didn't make sense either. Didn't mind that matchup though, because it was a fun matchup. It was competitive. It was interesting. But when you have a title, you just can't do that. You can't just favor others. This is clear favoritism. Will it make for a fun pay-per-view? Will it make for a fun build-up? Of course it will. Will it bring a lot of views to my channel? Yes, it probably will. So honestly, if the UFC does it, I won't be so mad. But I think at the end of the day, for the good of the sport, they need to just give it to someone that's deserving. In my opinion, that's Corey Sandhagen. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about this whole bantamweight title shot thing? Who deserves it, and who do you think is going to get it? Do you think the UFC is going to give it to Corey? Are they going to give it to Marlon Vera? When is O'Malley going to fight next? Thank you guys for watching. You guys are the best fan base in MMA, and I'll see you guys in the next one.